Morning, everybody. It's Ben Jones here from Batdorf and Bronson Coffee Roasters. It's Monday morning on the 26th day of April. I know that for a fact. Today I have a special coffee that I'm definitely not the first to talk about this, but it's my first time brewing with this one. First time actually tasting it. One of the hazards of COVID life is that I don't get to hang out in the coffee lab at the office. I have to hang out in my own little coffee lab here at home. So what I have is our favorite TV food personality, Alton Brown's Multitasker blend, the Multitasker. It's a special project that we did, coordinating with Mr. Brown, and this is his own custom roast. It's that's what it is. It's pretty cool. They're fun things to do. We've done some with the Puddles Pity Party, the musical clown, and now we have the Alton Brown. So pretty excited. And I've chosen to brew with the Chemex today. A couple reasons. I know that Alton Brown uses the Chemex at home, and I like to use the Chemex for the coffees when I really want to highlight the flavor and get as much of the tone out of there, reducing the texture and body of the coffee, and going for full flavor clarity. Chemex is one of the best options for that. Also, the tasting notes that are mentioned on the bag: black cherry, toasted sesame seeds, and a dash of old library books. So I thought it would be helpful to put some books in as inspiration for the coffee. Now, with the Chemex, I have a box of square filters. I really like the round filter, so I'm gonna start by trimming the extra paper off. There's nothing wrong with the square papers. I just prefer to have my filter fit nice and neat in the Chemex. All right. So just a reminder, Chemex is a single sheet of paper. It's folded into half and then in half again, which allows us to open up one of the tabs, giving us a little cone pocket. Single paper on one side, triple on the other, always orienting the triple paper toward the spout so that provides structural support of the paper. All right, with the Chemex, I love it. It does use a lot of water. Even with the white oxygenated filters, I still want to make sure I don't taste any paper, so I'm going to give a good, generous rinse. If I had to complain about the Chemex, it would simply be that I use a lot of water when Chemex brewing because of that paper filter. All right, and then with this, I now have to dump this, so if you'll pardon me a moment, just gaze upon the lovely packaging that is the Multitasker. I need to empty out such is the nature of live television. All right. For this coffee, my standard Chemex recipe, I used 40 grams of a coarse drip, or slightly finer than French press grind. Just going to add that right in. I'm going to be brewing with a total of 700 grams water, because that's the way I like to do it. All right, so from here, we have some decisions to make. I just poured it in. We have a nice little mountain. I'm going to give a little settling shake. And some people like to put a divot. Today, I'm going to skip the divot. I go back and forth. It's an extra step. So we're going to simplify. My timer started. And I'm just going to add water. Again, we're just going to soak the grounds, getting about, if I used 40 grams of coffee, I'm going to use about 80 grams of water. I have some big bubbles, so I'm just going to use a little stick to stir, make sure I can disrupt any dry pockets that are in there. I want to get everything nice and wet. Excellent. It usually takes about 30 seconds-ish for the bloom to allow the initial degassing. And then from here, I'm just going to start in the center, make some circles, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to gently break up the dark crust on top. This smells really nice. So this coffee is it's a blend, 3 different regions. It's primarily a coffee out of Nicaragua, paired with some coffee from Costa Rica, and then some coffees out of Sumatra. This is really cool because I know that some of the coffees that are in here, they're ones that we have real tight relationships with the landowners and the farmers of the coffee, the producers. So that's just kind of nice that we can extend that relationship portion of this. In order to have really good coffee, it has to be grown well, and it takes a lot of time, energy, effort, experience, knowledge, and dedication to grow quality coffee. So when you're working with people you know and trust, and people who can trust you back, it's a very helpful thing. I wanted to bring my water weight up to close to 600 grams for the initial pour. I'm sitting at about 550. I gave that haircut pretty tight. I usually like to leave a little bit more as a handle there. Once the water drips down about a finger's width from the top, I'll go ahead and come back, and here I'll even just start on against the paper, and I want to rinse any coffee that isn't down in there. I want to get that down in as well. All right, and then we're just going to bring this up to a total of 700 grams, just nice and gently. This is one of the reasons I also like to trim the paper off, because it lets me get a little bit closer all the way around. I don't have to worry about bumping into the filter. There we are, 700 grams. Now we just let that sit and drip, and I'm going to hang out and chat with y'all. So thank you everyone who's joining us today. I'm pretty excited to taste this coffee. I've heard the legends, but I've not yet tasted and had the experience. Is anyone out there, I don't know if you've tried this yet, it's been on the market for a little while. Anyway, if you are curious about this coffee and you want to try some, you can find it. You can go through Alton Brown's website, which is just altonbrown.com. And he's got a lot of really fun things, because if you know him, you know that he takes things very seriously, but in a very fun kind of way. And then if you find his coffee on there, it'll link to our website, batdwarfcoffee.com. So if you want to, see what he's all about, it's a good route to go. You can also just go straight to the source, batdwarfcoffee.com, and we have it right there. This is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this. Again, I've heard a lot of good things, heard a lot of neat things. And of course, if you go to our website, you can click on the coffee and we'll have a full coffee report there. Our coffee buyer, Bob, he likes to do write-ups just talking about the coffee, where it comes from, a few characteristic traits, all that kind of fun stuff. All right, total brew time there was 4 minutes, 45 seconds. So depending on how this tastes, I might make a little adjustment. Typically, I like my Chemexes to finish at 4.5 minutes, or just shy of. The grind size that they use, that tends to be the target time. But of course, it's all going to come down to taste. If I taste this, and if I'm getting a little bit of a burnt match flavor, if it's tasting like a burnt carbons, burnt toast, or if it has an astringency, think rubbing alcohol, that tells me that the brew took way too long, a bit of overcooked. So I would then come to my grinder and I would just turn one little notch. I would go a little bit towards the larger size to speed things up, but also to slow down the extractions. If it tastes bitter, like cocoa without enough sweetener to it, so really dark chocolate, and I want to sweeten it up a little bit, I'll go the other direction. I'll make the particles finer and actually add more time to it. But since we finished it, 4:45, I could be in a nice surprise. The aroma coming off of this is incredible. I'm definitely smelling like a sesame tone with a really neat, deep, rich cherry. I might just be smelling my library here of my collection of old books. One of those books is How to Grow Vegetables and Compost in the Organic Method. So I hope I'm not getting any composty stank from there. All right, but here's the real thing. I do still have my favorite diner mug, but special coffee, special cup. Let's just pour some of that in. It smells really great. I'm gonna swirl this, help it cool off a little. Coffee is a little too hot to taste right now. Swirl, 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 and put a splash in my diner mug, and I'll taste it from here. All right, so cheers everyone. Yeah, that's a good cup of coffee. Mr. Brown, hats off to you. There's my hair. Yeah, tasty blend. Nice work on it. Any faults that I'm finding in here are my own. I am correct. I need to make a small adjustment. I'll go click, maybe 2 clicks. I'll revisit this afternoon, make up another coffee. The Chemex is excuse me. The Chemex is a fantastic little brewer. If you've never used one, I highly recommend it. I happen to be kitted out with all the, I've got all the Chemex gear. I got the gooseneck. If you don't have the gooseneck, don't worry about it. Go back into our archive. I have some videos where I demonstrated using, of all things, a kebab skewer to do your Chemex. So using a kebab skewer and, pardon my reach, and just your household kettle, you can still use a targeted brew. It's a little bit of a kind of a cutthroat kitchen tip if you're making coffee and you have someone who's viciously sabotaging and stealing your tools and toys. But yeah, that one, you go to this one. Definitely has that sesame, a little bit nutty. Some sweet cherry hiding in there. Happy to have my collection, small part of the collection. Thank you all for joining. It's Ben Jones here, batter from Bronson. Again, visit altonbrown.com to learn more about the Multitasker blend, or you can go straight to baddwarfcoffee.com if you're doing some shopping for other coffees. If I'm allowed to pitch, I recommend our Decaf Peru, our Decaf Dancing Goats, and our Decaf Whirling Dervish, because decaf is delicious. That's what the D is for, delicious. Don't be scared of coffee without caffeine. Drink the caffeine in the morning. I'll have, I don't know, a lot more throughout the day. I can still sleep at night. That's my pitch. All right. I'm rambling, babbling. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you back next time.